Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Katy Clark, your favorite matchmaker, and this is a matchmaker's guide to love and life. And today I have to tell you, I have a brand new friend that I met while I was doing a TV segment in Dallas. You're gonna love her. I actually met her just randomly, and I figured if I'm gonna move and marry this guy, I need new friends. And I said to this woman, when I move, I want you as my friend. So let me tell you why you're gonna want her as your friend too. Demi Austin Thomas is a midlife transformation coach. She's a keynote speaker and author of Sizzle Boldly, 7 rule-breaking steps to own your fire. And girl, she got fire, so you're gonna love her. And redefine your midlife. And she's also a former NBC correspondent, and that's how I met her. But she's known for her bold truth-telling, which I will be sharing exactly some words that she had to speak into me about my relationship with my husband. And she is deeply relatable. Again, another reason to love the woman. Demi helps women over 45 to redefine their lives, rewrite their stories, and reignite the fire. And I've heard you guys time and time again be like, what's this? What's my season in life now? I know so many of you are going to relate with her. I also love her husband. He's not on this one today, but they also have a book. We'll be talking about that. But she has a coaching program. She does fabulous, beautiful events. I've been to them. They're stunning, and they're just heart focused. So ladies, you're going to want to get on her email list for that. And she does signature talks where she equips women to break free from limitations and step fully into their next chapter with purpose, power, and unapologetic confidence. And will you do me a favor? Will you share this with like 3 of your girlfriends that you totally love? I mean, that's the whole idea, is that we're going to get the message out. I might be a matchmaker, but I want to not only put people together, but I want to make relationships even better. So I don't have to see their faces again, if you know what I mean. So make sure you subscribe to this podcast. You get in my database. And if you want to work with me, it's all below. All right. I can't wait to meet you. And I can't wait for you to meet Demi. Well, here we are, you guys. As you can tell, Demi brings the sizzle. She brings the fun. She brings the earrings. Okay. I am a hoops girl, but Demi always be showing up. Demi, thanks so much for coming on today.
Girl, listen, first of all, any conversation with my favorite Katie May, I've renamed you
Yes.
just because you just bring such a array of sunshine and brightness and light in any space that you're in. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for having me today.
Yes. Well, what she just mentioned is that she gives nicknames to the people she loves. So I'm very honored. I'm still asking my husband, I'm like, what's my nickname? He's like, babe. I'm like, could we do better? Could we do better? Anyway, so I love that about you. Well, girl, why don't you fill us in on who you are, what you do? I just read your bio, but it's a bio. There's so much more to you. I've been to one of your events. I've been a speaker at your events. It was stunning, but you're more than just that. I mean, anytime you do something, you bring a presence, you bring a posture, you bring a positivity, and you bring the power of God, if I can just say that too. And that's the one I love. I had you at my Valentine's Day, and you would be praying over everybody. It was miraculous. So tell us about you being a midlife coach and how you got there.
So thank you so much. So I am a midlife transformation coach. I work with women over 45 who have found themselves, just like myself several years ago, who feel like they were at the crossroads of their life, empty nesting, trying to figure out what's next, trying to figure out who they are in their identity, after serving so many roles and serving so many different expectations as a wife, as a mom, and roles outside of it.
A lot of my followers are now divorced too. So like that nuance of that all.
Yeah. And so it is a very much of a huge, I think, idea of wanting to figure out who you are in redefining yourself. And so that's what I help women do. I help them really pick apart of identifying not only who they are in Christ Jesus, but really helping them understand how to bring new meaning into their lives, any area of their life where they feel like they're not enough. I really help women in terms of helping them reframe and shift their mindset. When we're talking about limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome, which so many women, as well as myself, I struggled with early on into my 40s, into this time where you would figure out in your midlife, exactly who you are, but I struggled with that. And so I get an opportunity to sit with women to help really pick apart their lives, in helping them identify the root causes of where they may be stuck in their lives, and really helping them bring new meaning and lots of power, purpose, and sizzle.
You do bring the sizzle, girl. Like, I wouldn't say I bring sizzle, but you bring some sizzle. And I love that about you. And let me just share real fast how you and I met. My now husband and I had just broken up. It was New Year's, and I had a scheduled news segment with you, and I didn't even know you yet. So I had to fly to Dallas, and I was like, I'm going to meet this ex-boyfriend of mine, and I'm going to get my stuff, and we're done, and we're kaputs. Ironically, he shows up at the airport with a cute sign that I actually have framed right here in my office. He drives me to the NBC station. He takes the pictures. He's so proud of me, and I'm like, this man has to work to get back with me. And you and I are just sitting there pre and post filming, and we're just chatting. And I'm like, this woman has got something that it's palpable, but it's also contagious. Like I want it. I want that contagion right there. And so it was just so fun to meet you. And I feel like it was definitely a God thing because I did get back with my boyfriend, who is now my husband. And you've actually been through me with all that little process. You've come to my birthday parties, and you and I recently sat down because I'm in a new stage. Again, I was that single mom working multiple jobs. And so I feel like I relate with who the people you are coaching, but now my new stage, and you can share because you had a talking with me and I thought you were spot on. My new stage is being a wife, but I'm so used to being a single mom where I laid the rules down and whatnot. So you and I had lunch recently, and I was just sharing with you my frustrations, and you said, Katy, you talked straight to me, and you talked about all the hats that I was wearing. Do you want to share about that? How women wear all these hats, but we've got to figure out which hat is correct with the person that we're with. And you can call me out because I was wearing the wrong hats with my husband. No, so you're like, take that hat off. I'm like, yes. So share that.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. And I think for women who are entrepreneurs and like I always call like my brand mamas, brand builders, content creators that I get an opportunity to coach because, we're always in business mode, right? And when you have that partner, you have that spouse, there's an expectation that we want them to be married to the business and to the brand too. And girl, that is not who they are married to. They are like, girl, I married you. And so the space of evolution, if you will, as you are evolving in your thinking, evolving in your business, they're not married to that, and they honestly don't care. Men care about just a few things. They want to know what they gonna eat, where they gonna eat, and how often they gonna eat. Okay, I mean let's keep it 100. Yeah, and so
you a real dessert.
Yeah, the real dessert. They want to know who's going to do the laundry, who's going to cook the dinner, and who's going to help around the house because there's that real fear of loss. And the fear of loss is time, the fear of time with you. And so I think that as a wife, I think it can be challenging, but you also had to learn how to be very strategic. And that was very much a big part of the challenges in my own marriage of where me and my husband experienced breakdown, but it was also a point in my life where I got an opportunity to really sit with myself and figure out who am I and in this role and what do I want? Because I'm not saying that your individual needs are not important, but I also think that we have to be mindful when you are in a relationship with your spouse and your partner that their needs are just as important as well. So we want to make sure that it's a very well encompassing relationship, but also at the same time, you have to know when to turn it off. And many times it can be difficult to turn it off.
Yeah. And that was me. I'm Coach Katy. I'm always telling people how to be better in relationships. So guess who else I'm telling? My husband all the time. And it's too much. And one of the things you specifically said to me that day, you said, he may never be your biggest fan when it comes to dating with Katy. And I was like, oh, you know, and it's an honest truth. And he doesn't always grasp what I'm doing. He doesn't listen to all my podcasts. He kind of sits by and is proud of me. But nonetheless, you said you're going to have girlfriends that are going to cheer you on. You're going to have other people who will cheer you on. Even last night, we were coming home from the rodeo, finally went to the rodeo. And he said, well, what's your purpose on, he's not on any social media. So he said, why do you even do social media, Katy? Like, are you really impacting anyone? Because, there comes a point, it's exhausting. You're like, I'm tired of me. If I got to post about me one more time, I'm like, I'm done. Or one more relationship advice. Like, haven't you all gotten it by now? But, he was curious, like, what is my purpose on social media? So it was a great opportunity for me to share. There are women, and whether it's 1 or 1,000, I don't care. I want to just know that I'm making a little bit of a difference, that they're choosing better, making better choices. And I know that you do that. Your videos are great. Your honesty is great. And let's bring up Jay, because usually I wait till the end of a podcast to ask, are you dating? Or you're like, girl, because you're married. And so And all my listeners, they want to be married. They watch me. I try to be as honest as possible without divulging everything. So share with us about you and Jay. And you guys also have a book coming out. And I don't know if you even mentioned your other book that's coming out, but why don't you talk about you and Jay, and then we'll go back to your Sizzle book coming out.
Yeah, so you're 100% right. Me and Jay, we have a book called 90 Day Marriage Reset Challenge. We have been married for 25 years. We have known
Ooh,
each other for 30 years. And we have three amazing kids, adult children. And, we met at work back in, oh God, in the 90s, honey. We met at work. We met at the infamous Edward Blank and Associates in Arlington, Texas, which everybody worked at. If you,
yeah.
honey, it was the telemarketing job to have, and that's where we met, girl. And listen, he likes to tell the story that I was walking by in my little windsuit, tracksuit, honey, because I was fine as wine back then, honey. Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yes, he likes to make it. He says when I walk by, I was like, the swoosh. And and
Backside or
look,
front side? Look at the
yes,
backside.
girl, listen, back in the 90s. And so anyway, we met, we've been together ever since. But listen, I'll be honest with you. And one of the things I share with my wives is that marriage has not been easy for us. We've experienced the highs and the lows. We were at a point in our marriage where we were sick of each other. We didn't know if we wanted to fight for our marriage. And we came into our marriage prioritizing our children. We didn't date. We didn't, dating for us was like kind of almost like an afterthought. It was almost like a check on the box. Like okay, we went to the movies and we got to get back home to the kids. But we really found ourselves at the breaking point of really making a decision on, like, do we want this? Because we were really heading down divorce lane. And, I felt neglected in my relationship. He felt neglected. We didn't know how to communicate. We didn't know how to prioritize each other. And, it really took us really working through and being honest and vulnerable with each other. And one of the biggest words that we both have really learned from each other is being able to self-advocate and to talk about what's important to you. Because I am someone who can sometimes be a little selfish in my relationship with Jay, where I will be honest, I came in our marriage with a lot of emotional baggage. I came in very selfish. I've always been the person to take care of everyone else. So I felt like when I got with Jay, okay, it's your turn to take care of me. Don't ask me nothing because I'm doing me. And that's not fair, right?
Hmm.
And so it was very much a very one-sided relationship. We were both frustrated with each other, but again, we didn't really know how to communicate that to one another without hurting each other's feelings. And to be honest with you, I could be honest to say I don't even think I cared about what his feelings were. And so we were both resentful, we were both angry, we were bitter. And all of that stuff is just cancerous, right? Because it starts to eat away at what we believe is, or what we believe that God brought us together. And the goal of the enemy is to bring division into and discord into your marriage. And so
Right.
you both have to be willing to individually look within yourself, to ask yourself, what do I want? And how am I going to show up? And how can we work through it? You got to put the egos aside. You have to put the pride aside, because all of that works again against the very plans of God concerning your marriage and the union and the purpose that God has for both of you. And so that is a little bit of our story. And so we get an opportunity to sit with couples. I'm very much a wife advocate. I always like to call myself a relatable wife because, honey, I get it. I'm a praying wife, but honey, I'm also a wife who gets who understands the heart of a wife when she feels like she's fed up and she's tired. And and so sometimes you need someone in your corner. And so getting an opportunity to do life with a lot of my I like to call them my hey wifey circle, to be able to champion them, to support them,
Yeah.
but to also
Yeah.
encourage them and
Yes.
to also help them strategize in prayer
Yes.
on how to combat the enemy. Because it's really I really feel like it's just, and we have to also recognize when we are in warfare in our
Mm.
marriage, because it's a very real thing.
And that's kind of where I was coming from after a year and a half of marriage and telling him I'm very audible. So my husband knows every need I have, every thought, every desire. I got lists, all the restaurants I want to eat at, all the romantic ideas he could ever do for me. And,
Yeah.
expectations just running amok here. And I really had to come to a place where I now believe that Jim is going to be the most romantic man ever in my life, but the Lord's going to do it on his timing. And until then, I'm just going to love Jim for Jim. And I'm
Listen,
that. And I love having women who've gone before me. So many experts out there and, giving marriage advice. I'm like, are you even married? Dating advice. Are you even dating? So sometimes it's not sometimes, but always it's great to hear from someone who's lived it, done it, and is winning now at it. And you
yeah.
talked about not really dating a lot. Well, I think you guys are making up for it because tell us about this 90-day thing that you guys have because it looks fun. You make these little
Oh,
videos. I'm like, okay, I'm coming with you. Put me in your suitcase.
listen, we love it. We believe that marriage is holy. We believe that marriage is right with the Lord. We believe that marriage is also very sexy, and you get an opportunity to do life with your spouse in a very sexy way. And so we get an opportunity to vacation every 90 days. We love being able to unplug and to reset. And we do this very intentionally. We just came back from a trip. And sometimes, and if I could be honest with you, Katy, a lot of times our resets are not always extravagant. They're not always like luxurious. Sometimes we'll go and do a staycation just to get away. And honestly, that's what we started doing when our kids started graduating. We were just like, let's go to South Lake, and we would pretend like we were in San Antonio or somewhere in Paris. But it was
Yeah.
just an opportunity because everybody can't do that. And we recognize that. But it's really the intention of that reset is for you and your spouse to be able to unplug from your day to day, turn your cell phones on, to be able to plug into one another, recharge, but to also now set up the intention to be able to have some very honest and vulnerable conversations and to really start, you know, digging at where are you in your relationship? How are you doing? You know, is there anything that you need from me? Is there anything that you need more of, less of? And that's what we do on our vacations. You know, we love going to Mexico. We're in Mexico quite a bit.
What's your favorite part of Mexico when you go on vacation?
Oh, we love Cabo. Cabo is very sexy.
Yep.
We love Cabo. We love Belize. We've been to Belize in South America several times. It's
Yep.
probably one of our very favorite vacation spots. But you know, the intention is to be able to reset the expectations in your marriage, to be able to have that uninterrupted time from everyone else. Think about, you know, I often try to get my couples and our wives to think about how much time they spend at their jobs. You know, for those who are working every day, you're at your job from 9 to 5, 8 hours, 10, 12 hours a day, depending on your profession. And then the time that you do get with your spouse on the weekend, it's very minimal, it's very limited. And so we have to be intentional about how we you know, preserve that time and spend that time with them. And so being able to have those 90-day resets to where you can just kind of go off to a little place and have that time, even if it's a 1 day or a 2 day. I always tell our couples, do what works for you, because what gets couples into a lot of big trouble
Yeah.
is trying to live your life vicariously through other people. Honey, you don't have that kind of marriage. You don't have that kind of money. And a lot of people, you know, that we started with, even in our friend circle early on, we were trying to glean from people. And the reality is that the people we were gleaning from, they weren't even happy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, because people, you know, we see things on Instagram and we want that. And we start trying to compare. We compare our spouses, we compare what they have, and oh, we want that. What do you need? And what can and are you willing to accept what you have right now? Sometimes you have to grow, you know, you have to crawl before you can walk. And a lot of times I was having expectations and my husband didn't even want to do those things. He had no interest in them. So
Mm.
we had to have a conversation on what do you like doing and where do you want to go, and being curious again, being able to spark that curiosity in your marriage again. We often ask our couples to one of our favorite chapters in the book is about remembering your why, because I think that's important to remember your why, because that helps you set intentions and expectations in your marriage, not only on your vacations, but also through the week, having those heart wellness check-ins.
Yes. I remember recently we were at a marriage thing and they had a list of 25 reasons why you dated or married your spouse. And the funny thing was both Jim and I, we could only circle five, but we both circled they were stylish. And as shallow as that seems, it was really important to me that my man be stylish and look good. And I was like, oh, you circled it for me too. So I didn't feel quite as shallow. But that was one of our whys. And because it also elevates, it speaks to bigger things. But I want to speak to that because we had, we do date night once a week. We're in a stage now. The kids are out of the house. We have the finances. So we do date night once a week. Well, date night was turning into Katy complaining night because we were not connecting any other time of the week. The man works a lot. My man works a lot. And so a Saturday night was like, oh, it's our go out time, but it's about the only time where I was like with him focused. And so I'd start telling him all the negatives too. And I was like,
Ooh.
we need to divide this. We need to have a huddle where we discuss, like you do on your 90-day reset, where we discuss like how'd the week go? What can we do better? This, you said this and kind of hurt my feelings, da, da, da. But or whatever, we need to have a huddle and date night, totally separate because we were dreading date nights. We were just like anxiety driven and like, oh my gosh, this date night, is Katy going to be cranky? And I'm like, well, it's the only time I get with you, maybe make some purpose time. So it's really helped us. But it's funny because on vacation, the last thing my husband wants to talk about is issues. So how would you motivate a husband or wife to be like, hey, let's take some time. Let's have these ground rules as well, because I think that's what happens. People go off the rails. They're like, I want to share my heart, and then it goes haywire and cranky. And so, do you have ground rules for sharing and being vulnerable? What are they?
Yes, we like to call. So you're 100% like, girl, you speaking my language.
Yes,
So,
speak about.
so yes. So yes, absolutely. We do have the ground rules, and me and Jay do something called our clearing spaces. And this is where, once a week we check in with one another. Sometimes Jay might be feeling a certain kind of way about something that I said, or maybe something I did, and vice versa. And instead of, which I will tell you, we were horrible at not communicating, right? But having that clearing space to where we're able to kind of say, you know what, we need to chat. We need to have a conversation. We kind of yield the floor to each other. It's uninterrupted time. And the ground rules is that we validate, what we're hearing, like I acknowledge, I understand what you're saying. I understand how that may have felt that way versus not saying anything because you feel some kind of way when they don't acknowledge or
Yep.
validate
Yep.
what you have to
No
say.
communication is communication, and it's not.
Yes, absolutely. And we really do use a lot of I statements to really kind of insert the power of not only of the experience, but also the feeling, because that is what really holds true and it changes the mood and it shifts the atmosphere in your home is when you're not able really to communicate. And so we allow each other that space to be able to really bring those challenges and those issues of what we may be experiencing in our relationship, and we confront them head on. What we have realized and what has been such a great help is being able to have those weekly check-ins, because now we're not carrying it into next week. We're not going to church Sunday and the pastor says something and I'm looking at you like,
yeah. The pastor doesn't even have to say something. I might already be looking at him like that. One of the things we've learned is that we've divided being hurt by also being butt hurt. Now, hurt is that immature, like, ooh, like yesterday, my husband, I usually do his laundry. I hang him up and I button the top button for him. And so he said yesterday, he said, sometimes some of these collars are not done right. And I was like, excuse me. First off, I'm not your maid, although I act like it by hanging. I just got so butt hurt immediately. And it wasn't a deep hurt. This wasn't really a hurt. But man, did my ego well up. And we've learned to say, I'm sorry for being butt hurt. So there are times when we've had to differentiate. And it's good, though, because when I'm hurt, he understands this is serious. Like, this really hurt my heart. So I think that's great. And I think you also talked about, and this is my problem, not interrupting people. I am like a fast thinker. And so I either take notes while the person's talking, like I am today. While my husband's talking, I just have to write, and I'm listening and I'm intaking and I'm waiting for my opportunity. But I also bought a talking stick, which is a real thing. It's an Indian tribes used to use it. So when we were in South Dakota, I bought a talking stick, and he's like, what is that? I'm like, that is my talking stick. Like, I actually need to go back. It's very kindergarten to me, but to learn to shut my mouth and listen. And you're right. Always say, what I'm hearing you say is this. Like, did you hear me? Because my husband is the silent thinker, and quickly I will revert back to, never mind, forget it, because he won't make a sound. He won't make a noise. And so he's been working on just going, I hear you. So it's a little bit of a double back and forth communication, because you
Yes.
don't hear even a sound from him, like a like, women are like, oh, girl, we are involved in that process. If he's
Yeah.
sitting there silent, which doesn't mean he's not listening, but he's just silent, I quickly resort to, never mind, forget it. It's okay. Like I poo-poo it. And actually, another guest on my podcast called me out on, and he's like, "I noticed something you do, Katy," and I'm like, "Wow, you're right, I do it." So, no, I think it's so good that couples would have these, rules in place so that they're both understanding that this is a time for growth. Growth is good. Growth is hard, but it's good, like growing pains. And so I love all of that. I love it, love it. Love you and Jay. You guys are always
Yeah.
fun. We got to hang out with just you two, though. I definitely think we need to bring that into the mix. But let's
We definitely,
we
we
do.
need to
Let's
definitely,
talk about your book, this Little Miss
yeah.
Sizzle. That's gonna be my nickname for you, Little Miss Sizzle. So tell us about
Well,
your
I
book.
love that. I wanted to say though, one of the things that you said about communication, I think it's also important to be able to respect boundaries
Mm,
in your marriage. A lot of times as wives, we can get a little offended, right, by some of the things our husbands say, some of the things that they do. But I think, trust me, girl, I get it. But I've also had to, like, one of the things that me and Jay have also had to do is to understand the respect of boundaries. Because again, one of the things that you said about communicating, I don't want to, I know we're going to kind of move on from this, but I just feel like that's something that was really difficult for us to really work through. But like for instance, my husband, he's a communicator. He likes to communicate right then. We have an argument about something and he wants to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Like, give me a minute. Let me process because I'm feeling some kind of way. And we being diplomatic enough to be able to come back and let's revisit the conversation. So I think that's also very important. I really want to encourage couples to really lean in to respecting boundaries. It is not all personal, but also give them a little personal space to process and figure out what works for them, because what works for them may not work for you, and vice
right,
versa. So
right.
anyway, but yes, so
My
yes, yes,
husband
yes,
is
yes, yes.
you. In that scenario, that's my husband. But we've learned he'll say, I need 20 minutes. And he'll say 20 minutes because that's fair to me. Otherwise, my heart is like, oh my gosh, when are we coming back? I got all these thousands of things to say. So, absolutely, we have definitely already moved into that space. And I always love it when he says, I need 20 minutes and he hugs me and says, I love you. I need a
Yeah.
little bit of reassurance that we're still good, even in that 20 minutes. And that's the first,
Yeah.
but so all good. It's so many, we could talk, that'd be a whole nother podcast is on marriage and husbands. But let's talk about you and what you're doing. So tell us about the book.
So I'm so excited about this book. So here's the truth talk about it. So first of all, the book is called Sizzle Boldly: 7 Rule-Breaking Steps to Own Your Fire and Redefine Your Midlife. Um, Honest truth about this book is a bold manifesto. This is the book that I needed 10, 15 years ago when I
Hmm.
was really trying to figure out who I am. I was in professional people pleaser, perfectionist, of always overextending myself for people, always living for other people instead of living for myself.
Hmm.
And so, over the last 7 to 8 years, I have really been in this incredible season and chapter of redefining midlife, and really taking ownership of my story, rewriting my narrative, realizing that I don't have to be a victim, reframing and shifting my mindset, and really burning down old beliefs and creating new rules for myself. This is
Yeah.
such a really exciting season. I feel like, nobody really prepared me for midlife. I feel like as our mothers, nobody really had these conversations, right? These
Nobody.
midlifers back in the day, like my mother, nobody had these conversations about midlife. Nobody talked about menopause. Nobody
Hmm.
talked about, like, for me, like growing up, the word sexy was like, you could not say that word. Like, I grew up in the
Right.
church, like, girl, you going to,
Yeah.
you go, you're dancing with the devil. You talk about being
Heathens.
sexy.
Those people.
Yes. Yes. And so I'm really kind of in this incredible chapter of really leaning into embodying these 40s of mine, with happiness, joy, excitement, curiosity, and lots of discovery. And so as I started to write this book, I started having conversations with other women who were in their 40s. And it started to ignite something on the inside of myself as I was kind of sharing with them my journey. And I said, maybe I should write a book about this. And all the rules that I have applied to my life to say, this is how I'm going to live this latter part of my life. It will be the most fulfilling, not just happiest, but it will
Mhm.
be the most fulfilling latter journey of my life. And so that's what I'm doing. That's what the book is about. And I'm really excited about being able to really help women, the women midlifers, if you will, giving them permission to burn down old beliefs and ideas and versions of themselves, and giving them a new canvas, if you will, of permission to reinvent the kind of life that they want to have. And I believe that we all can have that kind of life. It really starts with mindset shifting. It starts with being vulnerable and honest and really digging deep within the areas of our hearts that have not been healed, and really giving us an opportunity to use the power of our words. So that's what the book is about. I'm excited about the conversations that it's igniting within the hearts of women, because there's so much relatability that is resonating with them. So
Well, and I always tell women, I deal with a lot of divorced women, women on second, third rounds, and I always say, it's not a new chapter, it's a whole new book, girl. Like, we don't need to add a chapter to that book. We can write a sequel, and it can start with a whole
yes,
background, just like those movies. There's sequels. Let's just go to the next sequel. So,
yes.
and you were just saying conversations and hearts. Why don't you tell us about your events that you do, which are stunning, by the way? There is nothing you don't touch that isn't exceptionally beautiful. And I'm picky because I am very detail oriented, but I notice every detail. Tell us about your events that you do.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Katy. So, I have this heart of curating event experiences with wellness and lifestyle experiences for women, to make them feel valuable, necessary, and needed. The intention is to inspire them, to inform them, to empower them. And so we invite, all women. I always like to say audacious and aspiring women to be a part of my event experiences, to have honest conversation, vulnerable conversations. I always feel like it's an opportunity to invite women into my living room, and for me to share my most hardest lessons in life, because I feel like every conversation isn't always about a win. Sometimes it's just about, girl, this is where I'm at, and can I see the threads of your story, or my story in your story? And so I always love being able to curate these experiences. I've got an upcoming event called Sizzle Social Night out, and it's all about all things women, burning down limiting beliefs, and really giving us permission to have honest conversations that strike the heart, but also posture us in a way where we give praise to God, but yet at the same time, praise for who you are and where you are in your journey. So many times we want to praise Him when we get on the other side, but can you be thankful now? Can you have gratitude now, even the hardest season of your life? Because there's someone in the room who has a message and has a story that's right where you are, and it's the thing that you need. And so I always felt like, for me, I created these events selfishly, Katy, because nobody was doing anything like this back in 2010. It is what I needed, because I was failing miserably as a wife and as a mother. And I felt like I couldn't have these taboo conversations in the church, because, like, there were just certain things you could talk about and you couldn't talk about. And people would say, you don't want to put your business out there. And I didn't care about that. So I wanted to say, girl, I need some answers on how to show up to be a good wife, and not even a good wife, but to be enough. And how do I not, and to really start talking about the conversations that a lot of women are feeling, but nobody's talking about in the church. So that's what these events are about. And so we've got one coming up on August the 22nd. I'm really excited about it. And we want to invite women to come and to be in the room.
Yes, well, I'll be there. I'm already putting it on my calendar. I'm clearing the space. And is that when your book is coming out as well?
Yeah. So, where the book will be out, and it's going to be an incredible night. It's going to be an electric night. Let me tell you. So, Katy,
what's the color theme? I always
listen. I was about to give you a theme. I love a good theme. Like, I don't just host events. Like, it's got to have a theme with it. So this is going to be our Flamingo night. So come in your pinks, your corals, come in your cute peacocks and flamingo earrings, whatever. It's wild, outrageous. And I do these because a lot of times it's so easy for us to wear black. It's so easy for us to not, to wear the thing that you always wear. But it gives women an opportunity to dress up and
Yep.
to feel pretty and to feel beautiful. And so, I've never worn orange before, but you know what? I'm going to try something new. So that's my way of being able to get you to do it. I also, it's called marketing, marketing.
I am all into your marketing, girl, because I love a good theme. You came to my neon birthday party. I'm like, wear neon. Like, who wears neon anymore?
Oh
Amazon,
my goodness.
Amazon, $20. You can find something of a theme. So I am
Yes.
all for it. I love it. I love it. I'm thinking feathers and pink. So I'm gonna have to go
Yes.
shopping. Yeah, and I know my girls in Dallas, they'll show up. I got some now that I'm living here. My Dallas ladies need to show up. And if y'all want to come stay at my house, we can do a little summer slumber party here and we can still go. So, but you got to wear pink because I do get frustrated when people do not wear the color of choice. And I'm like, really? Tell me, like, you could have just gone shopping. So there is a reason to go shopping and it's for our theme parties. So I love that. Okay, well,
Yes.
in the last couple of minutes, like, what is something that you would want to share with my followers? Again, I have men and women, but women who are hungry just to, I always say be fit, be fun, be feminine, right? Those are the things men are looking for, but really that's, I think, what encompasses like a confident woman. When you're taking good care of yourself, when you are, dressing well for your age and for your I'm a winter. So when I wear winter colors, I look better. Like all these little details and snippets. What is something that you would tell these ladies that they could be working on right now in their life?
I think what I would say is, sometimes we work really hard to try to impress everyone else. But how are you working to be your most best, healthiest version of yourself? This is a season in the chapter where you get to choose to impress yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and so and with that, it's how you live. It's the things that you're putting in your life. It's how are you reevaluating your relationships, reevaluating and reassessing your friend circles, because I think that's really important. I think that we have to take time out to be intentional about doing a self-assessment and asking, like, how can I be better? How can I be much more accepting? And then the other part of that is, I would say, being better at extending grace to yourself. We live in a society, in a culture where everyone is pretending and everyone is performing. And it's a lot. It's a lot mentally. It's a lot emotionally that we feel like we have to perform at home. We got to perform in at our jobs. Everywhere we go, we're performing, and it's exhausting.
Yep.
I really want to encourage people to be mindful that you matter, and not only do you matter, but give yourself grace. Be kind to yourself. I struggle with anxiety. Most people would not know that. And my challenge to myself this year is to extend myself grace and empathy and to be kind to myself. And I just feel like if we put that in practice, it becomes a habit. And
Yes.
so, and you also then begin to train people with that same grace and that same empathy and that same kindness that you extend to yourself. You start to put that practice into how you show up in your relationships.
100%. When I was working with my therapist, she'd always say, Katy, you have compassion on yourself, have compassion on people. And I was just this like woman who was like, no, well, we got to get it done. We got to do this. And so there was no space for compassion. And I am actually learning. My husband, I had a chat about this last night. Again, compassion for myself and for people. We're all getting there. We're all working at it. We're all out there doing it. But that's the goal, is to be out there doing it. So how can they find you? Where can they follow you? When do they buy the book? And we already know what we're wearing on the 22nd. So
we already know what we're wearing. But I just want to say this: pace yourself, pace your race. Your race is yours.
truth.
So give yourself grace while you pace through it. You can find me at DemiAustinThomas.com. That is my website, but also on Instagram and Facebook, I'm at Demi Austin Thomas. So I look forward to learning more about what you have coming up, Katy, because you stay busy, you stay booked and busy.
I got vacations coming up. Like my daughter's graduating. You know how it is bringing the kids together. It gets harder and harder. So I booked boat. I'm making all of my children be on a boat with me for an entire week. So we have a little private catamaran where they're stuck. It's
Love
so
it.
small, they can't even leave. Like
I
mother is
love it.
in your face. We have matching pajamas. Oh yeah, just wait. The theme is
I
crazy.
love it.
So, but after that will be, I'm hoping for my book to be coming out quicker than it has. But otherwise, girl, I think we need to be doing stuff together. So I just love it. By the way, tell us about your earrings. Where do you get all of your earrings? Okay.
First of all, I have earrings everywhere. Okay. I have shelves, bookshelves, just so many earrings. A lot of my earrings are custom made for me. These are custom made for me.
Amazing.
This necklace from Nina Baronato, Sizzle necklace, that's custom made as well. But a lot of my earrings are made. I work with some very talented girls here in Dallas, Fort Worth, and around the world. But I'm a earring lover. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, I am a earring
Do you
lover. I
have an
love
Instagram
shoes.
reel about your earrings?
Huh?
Do you have an Instagram reel that just showcases your earrings?
I don't think I wouldn't even have enough time
I,
because I have thousands. But that's a good idea because even when I go on my vacations, like I'm preparing to leave on Monday, like I have bags, like gallons of bags. I have one suitcase that is just dedicated to earrings. Isn't that insane?
that is crazy, girl. You need a brand of earrings.
One
That's it.
carry-on
The
just for
Demi,
earrings.
the Demi earring. I mean, come on. At least, I mean, if it's a hoop, I'll wear it. But I did wear your pink cowboy boot, the sparkly earrings to your party the other day, and those
Weren't they fabulous?
fabulous, fabulous. So, but I'm back to my boring hoops. But I'll find something pink and fuzzy and flamingo-ish. Oh, I'm on it.
Yes.
Well,
I saw some today. I might go pick them up for you.
okay, I love it. And see, sometimes those things are the crazy ones you find at like dollar store or like Sam Moon. Like sometimes it's like, oh, the most random thing you find in the most random place. So, well, nothing about our friendship is random. So I'm so grateful for you.
Nothing.
Nothing. And
All
we
God.
created, and just thanks to you guys. Make sure you go follow Demi. You're going to be getting her book. You're going to be joining me on August 22nd. And until then, thanks for watching A Matchmaker's Guide to Love and Life.